battle that's coming up ahead of us here today, but I think the points are so vital for Brive in front of their partisan crowd, and when you're down there, this is rugby is the real lifeblood of that town, and they need to go out and put on a solid performance against a Stade Francais side that I've got one eye on the barrage, of course, but we'll want to keep building the momentum, building on their previous performances. 2 wins that Stade have recorded against Montpellier and Racing Métro, so they're going to want to make sure they can maintain that form against a side like Brive that are desperate to ensure that they can retain their top 14 status next year.
And we talk about pressure on the players, huge pressure on that man, Mathieu Reynal, a young referee coming through the game now with a good credibility, but he is going to have a lot of pressure in his ears in order to make sure he makes the right decision, and for the locals, a brief decision, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to try and sway the way that he goes, but there's a huge amount of responsibility every time for the referees, and we're in for a cracking game.
So a shotgun start in the top 14. Who's going to take the bullet after 80 minutes? We shall find out as both teams look to settle themselves down. As I mentioned, Brive have not played at the Stade Amédée Damanesh for 3 weeks. Won the last 2 games against Montpellier and Lyon, but the 2 trips on the road, like most of their trips on the road, have come to naught, and indeed they took quite a shellacking at Stade Ernest Vallon against Toulouse, conceding 9 tries in 67 points. That's the highest point score in the top 14 this season. There's Jeff Dubois watching on from the sidelines as his team look to settle themselves down. Stade Francais, well, they've really picked up some momentum through the course of this season and have been pressing and pressing to maintain their position in the top 3, and just a chance that they could make one of those top 2 places by the end of play today. Indeed, they were top for 24 hours last weekend before Clermont-Toulon, of course, played last Sunday. Fiol feeding out to try and get his forwards involved, but the handling of Zach Talafu not paying dividends there.
I mean, this is a cracking hit. A wonderful bit of defence from Brive. Just standing resolute. First up battles. Who's going to win the contacts? And Brive coming out on top. A little feather in their cap. You always want to get a turnover early on in the game. Give something to the crowd. Get them up. Get them upbeat and get them behind the team. Good start from Brive.
There's Didier Cassaday, the forwards coach for Brive, prowling around the touchline. Of course, there's not much that the coaches can do. It's down to those players to execute what they've been preparing all week. We'll keep you up to date with the scores as best we can through the rest of the top 14. As I say, all the games starting at the same time for the final round, so no advantage of knowing scores elsewhere before they're finished.
Just a really interesting battle. First up, first scrummage. Who can get the ascendancy? Who can lay the marker down? Because it's undoubtedly a set piece. If you're going to win any games, it needs to be strong. Stade Francais will look to attack Brive in this area of the game, and Brive have got to make sure they've got what it takes to stand up to them and get some solid set piece ball.
Well, Brive's over-enthusiasm on that first hit. Just scuppering there. Advances Mornay Stain in the 10 shirt, of course, with Jules Plisson out injured with that shoulder injury. Only 4 top 14 starts before Plisson injured that shoulder for the South African international. But now making his 3rd start in succession, and maybe that continuity will help him. There's Julien Thomas, the former Montpellier scrum half, another man who's making the most of an opportunity. His 9th start of the season. Just had 1 season at Castres before going to the Big Smoke. I'm not quite sure what the French equivalent of that is, but certainly going to the city where would be a quite different experience, as you found out, Ollie.
Undoubtedly, I think Paris brings with it a totally different life experience to anything that I've ever experienced personally as well. And for any player who has the privilege not only to play for Stade Francais but to head up there and live in such a fabulous city is it's a great honour and it's a great place to be.
Well, both front rows dip to the turf, but the ball is there for the visitors. Steyn puts it into midfield. Bosman throws it wide to Camara. There's Digbyani, the Australian in his second season with Stade Francais, but yet to really rip up any trees. Ball goes loose and Swanepoel swings it out, and suddenly the forwards, led by Ashiashvili, get Brive onto the front foot. And it is a heavy-duty Brive pack we've got this afternoon. And they will be frothing at the mouth in order to make some headway against their opposition. There's Ashiashvili again with Georgi Genti. Two Georgian renter-props in this Brive front row.
And that's good pressure there from Brive, winning the turnover now and then making it pay dividends there. Scott Lavala getting on the wrong side of the ball, making the tackle, not rolling away. Referee pings him straight away. It's great to see that the referee's keen to have this game free-flowing, get the ball out quickly so that we can see some proper rugby.
Well, there's the intent from Brive. Mela asking Gaetan Germain to set them up, and that's not going to be helped by the latest news from Stade Jean Daugère, because Bayonne have already gone over for one try. Roy Pifard has nabbed their first score with just 4 minutes on the clock.
Just adds to the intrigue, doesn't it? Just makes this game ever so important. I imagine the coaches will be desperate not to know what's going on, but it'll be drip fed to them all the time.
They're though, aren't they?
All the time, and the players will be knowing, the crowd will know what's going on, and they'll be reacting, rallying to this.
The Brive pack working out where everybody needs to go for the next driving maul, left by Wanga Niambroto. De Ross, the hooker, sets the ball back. There's Koyama 6'4" and 120 kilos, is always going to put a significant dent in any defence.
I mean, the hits are flying in, aren't they? It's close combat at the moment. Everyone just trying to win that physical battle one-on-one. It's really intriguing. This Stade Francais defence is standing resolute at the moment. Brive got to find some cracks.
Forwards go again with Wangani Umbroto. The Fijian played in the second row last week, but utilised in the back row this. Swanepoel swings it out wide, but the pass was just dipping away from Matalevu there. Didier Cassaday thinks, one chance gone.
I mean, it's some great phase play from Brive. They're just building it in their forwards. And then it's some really careless, sloppy handling here. They just see they're breaking through the gain line, getting some momentum. And then this is lovely running from Swanepoel, but just such a poor pass. And that gifts the ball back to Stade Francais and relieves the pressure off of Brive, off of the team. The
key thing, Ollie, though, is we're seeing a different attitude from Brive from the word go. And we've seen through the course of this top 14 season, they've relied predominantly on the boot of Gaetan Germain to slot points off the tee. This is a different mindset, though, isn't it?
It is, but it's it's sort of do or die kind of. If they don't score some points, they don't win the game. It's going to be a very, very difficult one for them, and they'll know already. They'll be able to probably hear from the way that the crowd are rallying to them that Bayonne are in the lead, and that points are going to be necessary. Tries are what's needed here.
Well, here's a man who knows his way to a try line. Benito Masalevo sets the ball back, and Ashiashvili, well, loses the ball in the contact. Julien Thomas, with great dexterity, manages to get the ball back out to that back line. Little dab over from Geoffroy Dumouriez. And there's Masalevo covering across from his other wing, but held up on the Brive 22. And they need to be secure and effective in defence, Brive, this afternoon. Get their basics right.
Brive under real pressure here. Was a great turnover from Pascal Papé for Stade Francais. Gave them a bit of territory, just put them back into the Brive half, build the pressure on them. They know that the crowd are going to be vociferous at the start. First 10-15 minutes, let's set up camp there, weather this storm and then get into our game. Great turnover from them and good decision making so far.
And we talk about the pressure on Brive, and when you look at the stats, you realise that having not scored a try in over 2 hours of play really is going to ramp it up in their minds that they need to get over the whitewash fairly early in order to set up that belief, that confidence that they can repeat it.
Yeah, it is. It is. I also think it's a one-off game. You know, that's the beauty of this situation. It's a one-off game. They must win, and they've got to win by more than Bayonne are winning by. So now their focal point is we've just got to score as many points as we can and put this to bed. So mathematically, Bayonne can't challenge.
Talafo being shunted sideways, but the ball's still there for the visitors. Great tackle coming in from Masalevu. What a big hit that was from the Fijian left winger, and you can see the applause from his teammates.
I mean, what a hit from Masalevu. That has saved almost a certain opportunity for try. Just a questionable forward pass that we've seen in the replay here, but this is great play from Stade Francais, lining up simple hands, and what a hit that is. There's an extra 2 players outside there, and he saves an almost certain opportunity for Stade to put some pressure on. Fantastic hit from Masalevu.
And Meyer Bosman is a big unit. His face is 100 kilos that's up against him in that tackle, so very important that he put his man down. Well, it's an intriguing scenario, and the news now from Stade Jean Daugère is that La Rochelle have replied in kind, so 7 points apiece there. It's going to be a topsy-turvy afternoon. Grenoble also theoretically in the relegation mix mathematically. They're down 14-3 at Lyon. Lyon, of course, saying goodbye to one of their great servants, Lionel Nallet, playing his last game this afternoon. Elsewhere, Montpellier 7-3 up against Clermont. 5 points apiece, Racing Metro and Castres. And Toulon just with a solitary penalty against Oyonnax. No score yet from Toulouse against Bordeaux-Bègles.
Interesting here so far. We've seen 2 free kicks already given away by Brive at scrum time. Now they're starting to feel a little bit of pressure there. Referee giving them the benefit of the doubt first 10 minutes, trying to make sure that the 2 sides just stay on level playing fields. But if they continue to give these little small offences away, it's going to result in penalties, and that's going to result in points.
Of course, no Floncart. Alexandre Floncart, the French international second row for Stade Francais. Le Cafio not included either. De Malmanche, of course, out injured at the moment. Van der Merwe, but there's...
Well, what a statement that is. That's what they wanted. That's what the crowd were asking for. Can we see a response? And there, what a drive from the Brive 8. Outstanding. Popping up the Stade Francais front row and winning a penalty. Great work from them there.
You can see the pressure coming through on Jono Ross, the Stade Francais 8, and indeed the tight 5 in particular of that Brive forward pack, rolling up their sleeves and showing their muscles in that one. Jono Ross in the Stade Francais lineup at the expense, of course, of Sergio Parise. Did well last week, Ross, and allows Parise to start off the bench this. There's Francois De Ross. Oh, a line out that was scrappy at best. They're going to get free kick though. Jean-Baptiste Pejuan desperate to get things moving. You get the feeling, Ollie, that they just need to get some points on the board to settle themselves into this. The frenetic play is just not helping them at the moment. There's penalty opportunity.
I mean, there's some good momentum. I thought they're very, very lucky there. I thought that was a fantastic turnover from Antoine Bilbao. There, just as he hits the ground, rips the ball out of the Brive's hands, and very, very fortunate Brive. But this will allow them to settle, get 3 points on the board, start to build some momentum in their game, and I guess just reward for some of the pressure that they put Stade Francais under in the first 12-13 minutes.
Yeah, Bourbon pretty much a doppelganger for Sergio Parise, certainly from a distance, and certainly has learned a lot from the Italian captain. But as you see there, feeling somewhat aggrieved with that turnover.
No, his hands are on the ball as the defender's going down. He rips it free. I think the referee may have got that one wrong there. I think he's saying he needed to release him as he hit the ground.
First points then on the board for Brive. Inevitably, somewhat inevitably maybe, from the boot of that man Gatin Germain. Nicolas Godinot, watching from his eyrie at the back of the stands, knows they're on their way towards their destiny. What their destiny is going to be, well, nobody knows quite yet.
Some brilliant hang time on that kick from Mornay, staying there. Perfect position. Probably wanted it just the other side of the 22, so they can't kick it straight out, Brive. But what it does with that height allows Stade Francais, the defenders, just to chase, and as soon as Brive catch it, the hit goes in, down to floor, and they can put pressure. But they're just a tiny bit too long, and they're able to clear their lines. Jean-Baptiste Péjuin can kick it long and get some territory back for his side.
Péjuin making his 215th top 14 appearance for Brive. 15 years he's been playing in their colours. Nobody knows more about the team, nor indeed the city, than Péjuin. Saint-Pierre hits his man, and the ball straight back to Mornay Stain. Well, you want hang time, there's great hang time, but in the end, it's Masaleva who pulls it back. Well, it's a scrappy contact area. It's all in. It's sorted out by the Brive forwards, and Koyamayan tries to get them back towards enemy territory. Swanepoel pushing it out to his captain, Wanganim Broto, the Fijian, wearing 6 on his back this afternoon. A rangy forward though, and has the capacity to open up defences with a stride that seems to be almost double anybody else's. Gatin Germain moving across to this near side to get his clearance kick in. Well, Gonzalo Quesada knows all about this man, because of course he played for him when they were both at Racing Metro. But Germain moving over to Brive, and really has been a vital cog in this Brive machine so far this season.
I mean, he provides all the points for them, to be honest, all the time. Yep. He's their kicking machine, and he's been the main reason at times when they've managed to, maintain that home form, that home record, and pick up some wins. But interesting to see. First 16 minutes, it's been a pretty frantic first half so far. Neither side really settling in. Both teams trying to play fast, but without too much composure in their game. It's going to be down to the 10s. Can Mornay Stain or Swanepoel step up, because mark their stamp on the game, start to control it, because at the moment neither side is really starting to dominate the territory in possession.
Sloppy play from the Stade forwards on that occasion, as they get an accidental offside verdict from the referee. Great take from skipper Burbain, but just not connecting up consistently, shall we say. It's something that the referees tend to pick up fairly quickly on.
I mean, you need that. Your set piece has got to be your go-to, whether it's scrum or line-out. You can't afford to just gift the ball back to the opposition. Stade, as we mentioned, wanting to try and get a stranglehold of the game and actually put their mark on it and their stamp, so they can start injecting some of their phase play, and that will all come off of line-out time there. And Saint-Pierre, that's his job as a hooker. You've got to hit your line-out and make sure it's straight. So they'll be disappointed that they've not been able to sort of build that continuity so far.
We talked about the change from last week, Ollie. When you look at the forwards, there's only John O'Ross that's still in that 8. Does that make a difference in the way that they get going in this game? That they've got to get some uniformity, I suppose.
I mean, a bit, of course. I mean, they train obviously week in, week out, so they know how their systems work and their calls. But yeah, so you're going to be a little bit match rusty, and
instinct perhaps isn't quite
of course, yeah. But with the barrage coming up, with the opportunity to play knockout rugby to win things, they want to lay their mark down and hold their hand up for selection. And here, the front eight for Stade are getting dominated by Brive, and they're going to need to really tighten up, because at the moment the referee now twice pinged them for the penalty. All the momentum in that area with Brive.
Another penalty goes the way of the Brive pack. This time Gaetan Germain will send them further down this left flank. Second try has gone in for Bayonne. 14-7 now. The Basque side lead. You can see the unity, the team spirit that's there. It's a matter of how much that's going to be tested over the course of the next hour or so.
And we're going to see how strong and resolute it is at the moment. Big line out here in the Stade Francais 22. Catch and drive coming. Can they do something off the back of it?
The take from Saïd Haresh, the Frenchman who's played for Algeria, securing the ball. Burban's been pointed at by the referee already, so the penalty is there for the home side. Pejuan out to Swanepoel. It's the centre pairing of Andrew Millet and Arnaud Mignardi. They would go back for that earlier advantage. And again, the pot coming to the boil. It was always going to be simmering through 80 minutes. And whether it's forwards or backs, it really doesn't matter.
I know, but you can see what it means to Brive here, desperate to make sure they stay in this league, and they're just tempers fraying, tempers getting a bit riled up. They're just, everybody's so keen to make a statement and fight for their survival in this league. It's great to see. You can see the passion. You want to keep it clean, but so far Brive just getting the upper hand in those key decisions here. Antoine Bourbon off the back of the line out, catch and drive from Brive, staying tight. He just comes in from the side. Referee picks him up, pings him for it, and this will see the points machine, Gaetan Germain, go for the kick, I would imagine.
Well, certainly he's come into this game having kicked 278 points in the top 14. 60% of his side's points have come from his boot. Bosman just not hearing the whistle, I think, there. And the cordite that is in the air just smoking a bit too much. What's the referee going to do here?
Referee just looking at the video replay, see if there's any foul play, if any punches been thrown. Brive got to make sure they keep their cool here. They can't afford to have players in the bin through ill discipline, and you can see here the coach is just so nervous as to what's going to happen in this situation, because it's a precious 3 points that are on offer if the referee decides to stick with the original penalty.
Reynal consulting the TMO, who's Eric Gontier in the TV trucks this afternoon.
You can just see Antoine Bourbon now over the top of the maul. He's desperately trying to get his hands. He's leaping all over the place. There, just latches on the back. Referee deems he's coming from the side. A penalty, bringing down the maul. Right call from the referee there, but Bourbon protesting his innocence, as we all do so well from the ground.
I'm not sure whether it was that fracas there or whether it was the centres getting involved further across the pitch that's taken the interest of the officials. Well, this is what the official committee are looking at. Let's see if there's anything wrong there.
Eric, c'est bon? Ok, pareil pour moi. Ouais.
Monsieur Reynal conversing with the television truck, and he's going to call Antoine Bourbon out for that original penalty.
Referee Reynal deciding, obviously, just handbags at 10 yards, comes back to the original offence from Bourbon. Interesting call here. What a statement from Brive that is, going for the catch and drive, feeling that their forwards have got some ascendancy over Stade Francais here. Now 3-0 up, I would have been going for points there. Build your scores. Now don't get too greedy for tries. You just need to win the game first and foremost. Interesting call. Can they turn this into the 5-pointer?
Mella takes securely at the front. The forwards come in and they drive and they're over the line, and there's the first try as we hit the end of the first quarter of this match. At last, Brive cross the whitewash. It's Koyamayan, the big Fijian number 8, finishes things off. And how important could that score be in the psychology of those Brive players?
I mean, he can almost see the relief on his face as he goes over. He knows what a big score that is, and congratulations to Brive there. You know, you back yourself 3-0 up with pressure on, huge game for them. Do you go to take the easy 3 points, or back yourself and go for the 5? Catch and drive. Excellent work from the Brive front 8, powering their way over Stade Francais, and Koyambola, first one to get that 5 points on the board. Great statement of intent from Brive from the off.
And efficient work from the forwards as well. We talk about all the emotion that is rife around the stadium, but they really had to focus on what they've been practicing, no doubt, on the training paddocks all week and affecting it. And that has paid off with what they will hope now is going to be a 7-pointer. If that man, Gaetan Jamin, can nail this slot from the tee. Oh, just fading away from the right-hand upright, so 2 points gone bagging, but 8 points in the bag.
And here we see it again there, the Brive forward just setting themselves, and there the momentum is just all with them. Koyambola, you're never going to stop him from 2 yards out. A beast of a man just powers his way over with the rest of Brive behind him. Great score from them, good start.
Koyambola it is who takes the restart. The big Fijian 8 who's played for many a French team, Toulon, Lyon amongst them, played in Italy, played in England of course for Sale Sharks after Rugby World Cup, actually came to Brive from Bordeaux-Bègles. Only had one season there, and again a little flare. It's Wangani Mbroto having a discussion of sorts with Kubriashvili.
Besides just getting a little bit overawed, but carried away in this situation. A few fisticuffs. We've already seen one questionable. One was their punches thrown. Another incident now off the ball. You know, Stade Francais, they're going to get themselves back into this game. The crowd will just get on their backs. They'll start getting in their ears. 8-0 up for Brive at the moment. They need to make sure they maintain their cool.
And that man has to maintain his cool as well, as I was saying earlier on. Talk about getting in the ear. Well, he's going to get it stereo through the course of this game.
He is, and it's all going to be pro-Brive, so he just needs to make sure he keeps a level head on this and keeps control of the game, and so players don't start just running away trying to, you know, have little slide digs off the ball that will cause problems all over the place.
Well, again, I think Eric Gontier being asked to provide replay. And just look to the right of your picture there. It's on the floor that it happened.
Oh, is that a kick? Is that a kick from someone on the floor? Brive there, they just goes down feigning the little punch, but does he kick him after the ball's kicked away here? Let's have a look.
Pajwan with a clearance kick, but look to your left there is what we're looking at. It's Hiresh and Wangani Mbroto with Kubriashvili, and it was Hiresh, I think, who took the somewhat dramatic fall to earth.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's it. It's either the punch that's been thrown, or is there a kick in the ruck? I'm not sure that the third official can see it there on the replays.
Well, I think the officials are going to take the sensible path and just try and calm things down here.
Les gars, on va faire retomber la pression un peu, ok, je comprends qu'il y a beaucoup d'enjeux pour les deux, mais on joue au rugby, d'accord, on fait retomber la pression, on va pas arrêter toutes les 5 minutes pour demander la vidéo pour des trucs comme ça. Hein? Allez, disciplinez les mecs.
I mean, a good shout from the referee there, saying, look, let's just bring it back to level. I'm not going to be trying to stop the game every 5 minutes, so can we just get a bit of a level head on this, bring some control back into it, calm your players down and play rugby, because that's what we're here for.
Well, some of the Brive players were saying during the week, it's more than a game of rugby, it's more than a final. But right now they have to refocus and make sure they keep the discipline in their game. Discipline has been such a problem for Brive. 25 yellows they've had this season, and indeed in 2 of them they've had 4 yellow cards, and playing half a game a man down is inevitably going to hamper you.
No, you've got to have your full complement on the field at all times, especially when you're in this league in the top 14 against top quality top quality players all the time. And there we just witnessed again the role reversal. Stade Francais now, their forward pack just starting to come into tune, driving the ball there, winning the penalty, and now deciding, yeah, okay, we're not going to take the points either. We're going to kick for terror. We're going to kick to touch, try and build a score. 10 yards off the line. Can they now turn this into some points too?
Sempre hits Scott Lavala, the US Eagle, flying high in that line out and providing that quality ball for his forwards. There's the hooker. Forwards just a little slow in getting to him, and I think there's a turnover, is there? No, just coming out pink side.
Very lucky there, Laurent Sampere going on his own. The Stade Francais hooker nearly getting isolated. You've got to make sure off the back of that maul you stay with your forwards. They're just going for glory, nearly coming unstuck.
Pascal Pape leading the way. Last time he appeared in Stade Francais colours was the 9th of January, can you believe? Against Castres. Of course, the Six Nations then came up, and it was that knee in the back. I think it was Jamie Heaslett, wasn't it, that got him that 10-week suspension.
Yeah, Stade Francais will welcome him back at a crucial point there in their season as they build some pressure. He is going to be someone that can turn a game for them. Monumental at times in the forward pack, and they're going to need him in this ball carrying area right now.
Jono Ross taking it into the contact but losing it as he's accused of holding onto the ball. Now Zach Talafu just on the left has taken a serious knock by the look of the claret that's streaming down his face there. But there we had, a series of phases, Ollie, from that Stade forward pack, and Brive will find that confidence from that they've held them out, won't they?
I mean, that's a huge moment there. The penalty there, so well worked there from Koyombola and Hireshi Mela. The Brive forward pack just putting in the hard yards in defence, making sure they stayed tight and weathered the onslaught from Stade Francais. Stade Francais, they're looking desperately to get some tries, get some points on the board. Huge feather in the cap, big boost, motivational boost for Brive that they can turn them over, relieve some pressure and kick to touch now.
Because we talk a lot about French teams and their different attitudes when they're on the road, but Stade Francais are the best team on the road in the top 14, and Brive will be well aware of that in setting up for this game.
Oh, they will. They'll know what's coming. There's Stade Francais a third in the league. They're into the knockouts, into the playoffs, into the barrage as they call it in France, and they'll be pushing hard. They know what's coming. This is not just some soft pink. There's a real hard interior to this side, and that's been built up through Quesada and the work that he's done, and now their form is outstanding to us in the top 14 away from home, because that is something that traditionally French sides are not great at.
There's no sense of soft pink in this side, that's for sure, as Zvania, another Georgian prop, comes on as a blood replacement for Talafu. Oh, great take from Koyombola. At pace, so difficult to stop. Up to the 22 go Brive. Now they've got opportunity. Thrown wide, but a little haphazardly out to Guillaume Nami, the local boy. Tries to chip his way through. Hiresh tries to reset. Julien Thomas gets himself in a good place from Stade's point of view. Bad place from Brive. And the penalty is there. But there was Koyombola showing what he's been about at pace, virtually unstoppable.
I mean, a fantastic break from him, busts through the middle of that Stade Francais defensive line, and his pace afterwards was so impressive for such a big man. And then it just needed some patience. Pejuan, the 9, just a little bit over exuberant, chucking the ball wide, but here it is, the break from him. The monster that he is, he's on the run, takes two people to bring him down, and what you want now, Brive have got all the momentum. You just need to push the ball and make sure it goes to hand, but a wild pass allows Stade Francais to get their defensive shape back and give away a penalty rather than gifting them a 5-pointer.
And I'm sure we'll be saying this again before the end of this game, but composure in that sort of scenario is going to make or break Brive this afternoon.
Oh, vital. You've got to have clarity under pressure all the time as they come into this area again. They've already scored once from this. They'll be buoyed, confident this line out. Catch and drive is crucial.
Deros finds his captain once again. As the ball is in the hands of Georgie Genti, but yeah, you just saw that maul breaking up and accidental offside it may have been, but almost had too much space there, didn't they? You see Koyamaimbole just ahead of the ball carrier, much as he was trying to stay in touch with him.
Yeah, unfortunate there, Brive, but you must convert those moments into points. It's so vital in this game. You're going to build that score and give some daylight between you and the opposition. You've got to make sure if you're turning down the opportunity to kick at post and get those 3 points when you've got a guy like Gaetan Germain on the field who can slot those 3 points for you pretty much from anywhere. You've got to make sure you convert them, and Brive will be kicking themselves that they haven't done that here.
Because, of course, a critical factor in the top 14, lest you need reminding, is that for that try bonus point, you have to be 3 tries ahead of your opposition. So much as we talk about getting a decent advantage, you've got to make sure you keep that advantage.
It's true, and you see how things can change so quickly in rugby there. Brive turned down the penalty they won, the opportunity to kick at post. They go for the touch, the catch and drive. They gift away the accidental offside, scrum time, penalty they give away, and Stade Francais now opportunity. They've just cleared their lines, and they're now within the Brive, just outside the Brive 22. Territory possession's crucial, and when you're in an opportunity of scoring 5 yards off from the Stade Francais line, you've got to turn it into points.
Jeff Dubois, known as a fly half in his playing days, particularly with Toulouse. And now part of this very successful coaching setup with Gonzalo Casado, Simon Raoului, we've already seen up in the stands. Semperate finds his man, and Tomat has to whip the ball out into midfield. The ball whipped out to Camara. Camara trying to step inside, Millet coming back to take his man down, but Stade Francais now setting up camp just outside their host 22. Bosman gets the ball through the tackle. Digby Ioane desperately trying to flee the tackler, but losing the ball. Well, a great opportunity there for the visitors. Which way is it coming?
I mean, that is desperate defence, but outstanding defence from Guillaume Nami, the 14 for Brive, diving through for a certain offload that if it had gone to hand from a Stade Francais perspective, that was 5 points on the board. Now that is the sort of last-ditch defence that you want to see when you're so desperate for that win.
A quick take from Dumeru to Julien Arias, been in such fine form, the winger. Gets the ball back to his centre as Stade Francais try and reboot their attack. Pascal Papé, no thought of a sidestep from the French international second row, almost getting himself isolated, and indeed the penalty is given away. I think that was from John O'Ross coming in late from the side to try and help the clearance.
That's great work on the floor there. Pascal Papé going to ground, and Brive working so incredibly hard to get over the ball. 2 or 3 Stade Francais attackers coming in to clear that ruck, not doing so, not effective in that area, and winning the turnover. Just see here the number 7 diving in for Brive. Wakane Biroto straight in over the ball, and there just slipped. Lavala misses him. There, straight penalty away. Great work there from Brive.
Determined defence from the home side. There was that break from Ioane, making his 12th start of the season. He's only got 1 try against Lyon in round 2. Now that sort of pressure is going to bear when you're a winger and your meat and drink is actually getting over the try line, isn't it?
Yeah, and when you're a very expensive asset, you know, he's been brought in because of his quality and ability to score tries, and Stade Francais will want to see him do that, and they'll be disappointed that his return this year has only been the 1. But he's a quality player. We've seen him enough times to know that, you know, what he can do with a rugby ball in his hands. And you know, the most important thing from a Stade Francais perspective is that they're winning games, and they're competitive at the top end of the top 14.
A lot of chat in the French papers as to whether Ioane will still be in the pink, as it were, for next season. A lot of talk about whether he may take the yen and go to Japan. Yet to have that confirmed. Of course, the transfer season's getting silly already in the top 14. When isn't it? I mean, you've seen it at first hand, Ollie. I mean, there's so much unrest caused by the transfer talk, which goes on pretty much throughout the season.
That's because you've got some club presidents with some very deep pockets and big checks they want to write, and you know, they want to get the best players in the world, and they're not too fussed about how much it costs them, which makes for some incredible players and talent that come to the top 14, but not great for job security, as you say.
No, don't buy too many houses, that's for sure. Well, into the final 10 minutes of this first half, and the home side happy with points on the board, but maybe not the amount of points they've got. Brive have this unusual tag in being the only club to have won the European Cup that haven't won their own domestic trophy. Of course, back in the 90s, that was when we saw Didier Cassaday, he was the hooker then, and Philippe Carboneau, when they had the likes of Alain Penaud and all those sorts of players playing for them. Cedric Raymond was on the wing for them then, and you know, you thought it was the beginning of a big new era. They've been through an awful lot of ups and downs since then, seen an awful lot of expensive imports come in and go. You know, you look at the likes of Ben Cohen and Steve Thompson, World Cup winners that have played in Brive colours, but they've always had this problem with getting that continuity in performance, particularly in the top 14.
They have, and I think now what you're finding, what you're seeing with Brive is before, back in the day, maybe 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, where they had their budgets were one of the highest in the league, and they were able to bring in the likes, as you mentioned, you know, Ben Cohen, people like that, the best players in the world to play for them. Now they just haven't got the spending power to compete with the likes of Toulon or Toulouse or Clermont, so they have to make do. But what they have got is a great unity and a great team spirit, and that Brive, the town itself, is pure rugby. It lives and breathes the team. It's what it's all about. It's a great tiny little partisan crowd that they have there, and you know, there's some players, English players, Jamie Noon for example, who went down there, fell in love with the town, and still there and is an ambassador for them and helps them with player recruitment.
Yes, Jamie Noon, now an agent, I hear.
He is, yeah, he is, and a very good one at that too. So, you know, a lovely bloke, Jamie Noon, and he'll be pleased to see that probably some of his imports that are playing in these Brive colours, particularly in the front five, are, you know, doing their best here, because they have really got the ascendancy in the upper hand over the Stade Francais pack when it comes to scrum time, really putting the pressure on, winning the penalties, and every time they do, they're drilling the corners to get these opportunities for the catch and drive. We saw the last time they scored the first one, and then they managed to get the accidental offside. Can they now make sure this one converts into some points?
Pragmatism, the order of the day from Francois Darros and his forward pack. Not expecting to see this one head out to the backs. It's not going to head out into Brive hands at all, because I think Burbout has got, was that Scott Lavala? I think it was Lavala, wasn't it? But they've lost it. Koyamaimboli takes the ball back, and Pejuan tries to fire his forwards towards that white line. Dominica Wangan-Bruto sets it up into the final 5 minutes of the half, and how big a psychological scar could this be on the Stade mindset if Brive could get their second try of the game. Georgie Genty, medical joker of course for Pat Bernard a few months ago. There's Guillaume Nami, another man who could do with getting a try on the board.
Brive just need to be patient here, just keep some ball retention. They're going to keep it tight in the forwards. Just make sure you don't make mistakes that ruck time. Don't rush these things. You've got time. Build some pressure, build some phases against this Stade Francais opposition.
Pascal Pape coming through there. You can't miss him, can you? I was amazed in prepping this game that Pascal Pape has not had a single yellow card all season in the top 14. I think that might be about to change.
He's about to get one now there, just coming through. And that's what happens. All this pressure that Brive just keep putting on the Stade Francais defence. Eventually it cracks. They give away penalties, and with penalties come yellow cards. They now have the opportunity to go back into the corner again. Stade Francais, a player down. They can try and get these 5 points. They must make sure they go into half time with double figures on the board, in my opinion. Stade Francais haven't really hit their strides, struggling to get any rhythm in their game. 8 points is not a lot for them to try and make up in the second half when you're a top 3 team in this top 14 with a quality outfit that they've got.
And as much as I say Stade Francais are a good side on the road, they have got some horrible days when they went to Clermont, conceded half a century of points. They've been to Toulouse, Montpellier, Oyonnax, Lyon and Bayonne and lost. So it's not impossible for this Brive side. Now they have to turn the screw, especially with the news coming through that Bayern have now got 3 tries on the board, 3 tries to 1. They lead against La Rochelle 19-7 at the moment. There's Zach Talafu back with Bonnet and Rapping.
Yeah, back on the field, and Stade Francais going to need him here. We've seen how Brive have really turned the screw on this Stade Francais front 5, dominating them at the moment, winning all the penalties in that area. Stade now a man down in the scrum, and Brive electing to go for it. Let's see if they can power their way over, or perhaps win the penalty try from the referee.
Scott Lavala being moved up into the engine room. See John Ross on this near side. 7 against 8 then. Opportunity knocks for Brive before the break. Whoa, that's a big call from the referee.
That is a huge call from the referee, saying that he's binding and driving in from the side, not binding properly. Big moment that is there. Big relief for Stade Francais. Down to 14. You must make sure you put the pressure on them there, Brive. Giving them that, gifting it far too easy. Getting a bit over-eager and over-exuberant at the opportunity to drive them over. Really poor decision-making from Brive there.
Well, we've talked so long about execution and the clinical nature that Brive forwards in particular need to be. You see Georgie Genti being tipped turtle almost by Zach Talafu there.
Yeah, didn't look as though he was having a good time in that bit there, did he? Perhaps just couldn't get his bind and got the upper hand on him.
Well, talking about hands, that was Arnamella's hand that got in there on the line out. So yet again, this game tips back into the possession of the home side. There's Genti losing the ball. Well, that was Hugh Pyle being told he didn't release. Pyle, nobody has put more minutes into Stade Francais this season than the Australian second row, making his 19th start in the league. 29 appearances from the former Melbourne Rebel second row. I say 2 words, deja vu.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the order of the day. And Brive are going to want to use their forward pack where they know they've, at the moment, got the upper hand and keep dominating. But they keep making basic mistakes like this, giving away penalties at scrum time, not executing their line out. Frustration is going to build because what it does, it allows Stade Francais to stay in the game. And as soon as they can get some sort of continuity and rhythm into their play, which they haven't got so far, Stade, they're going to be very dangerous. And if you've only got an 8-point lead, there is always the danger that you can come unstuck.
Is there a scenario where you think Nicolas Gaudignon is actually going to change the tactics of Brive and actually say, right, let's move it away from the set piece, let's get a bit more variety into our play? Have they got that capacity within this lineup?
In all honesty, no. But I would say, you know, the focus has got to be where you're winning, where you're dominant at the moment, and it's in the forward pack where they're winning all those battles. Scrum time at the start, they looked nervous and were gifting free kicks away to Stade. As soon as they calm themselves down, they're now every single scrum time winning penalties, referees behind them. You know, it all builds the momentum. What they need to do is make sure they maintain their accuracy in both areas of the set piece.
Final play then of this first half. Don't forget, Stade Francais down to 7 with Pascal Papé in the bin. Julien Thomas sends it to the stands, and the teams head off to the hutches with the home side in the lead, but only just and only 1 try on the board. It's all to play for. 40 minutes to decide whether they're going to be in the top 14 next season. At half-time, though, it's the home side in the lead, 8 points to 0. So welcome back to the Stade Amédée Domenech. A huge 40 minutes in prospect. It decides the top 14 survival of the team in white and black. For Stade Francais, well, they already have their place booked in Les Barrages next weekend. So the pressure to an extent off them. But this is going to be massive and fraught with emotion. There's Thomas Savray there, second from the left, the president of Stade Francais. What a turnaround he's seen since taking over the running of the club from Max Guazzini. Scott Lavala was part of that club and is still part of the club as he takes the restart, just to keep you up to speed with the rest of the scores in this final round of the top 14. Half-time Grenoble were leading 18-17 at Lyon. Clermont were leading 17-14 at Montpellier. Racing Matro at home to Castres, in charge at 21-10. Toulon leading 20 points to 3 against Oyonnax. And Toulouse behind to Bordeaux-Bègles, 12 points to 9. Now, just to put a little more meat on the bones for you in terms of the way the table stands. As I mentioned earlier on, if Brive equal whatever Bayonne get, then Nicolas Gourdignon there knows that they will stay in the top 14 and it'll be Bayonne that are relegated. If Bayonne get the bonus point and Brive don't, so they end up level on points, then it will be Brive who get relegated. But if there is an added on to this, if Grenoble get nothing from Lyon, which admittedly is unlikely, but if they were to get nothing, then it would be Grenoble who go down. That is courtesy of the head-to-heads between the three clubs if they all end up level on 52 points. We shall try and do our best to keep you mathematically up to date through the course of the next 38 minutes. I'm Simon Ward, alongside me Ollie Phillips, formerly of course of Stade Francais, as Mignardi breaks through. Opportunity here for Guillaume Nami. Keeps the ball alive. Francois de Ros. What a start this is for Brive. And they've got the second try. It's Arnaud Mignardi, the man who they thought was out for the season, getting his third since September. And what a start for the home side. Just what the doctor ordered.
Oh, and you can hear and see what it means to this Brive crowd, this Brive side. What a start from them, coming out, making the extra man count, and it's some wonderful interchange from the players, wonderful offloading and support lines, and what a start to the game. They just come out firing, outstanding from Brive.
Well, Mignardi, who hurt his knee against Castres beginning of November, returned a fortnight ago off the bench against Toulouse, and now finishing things off here. Great move, so many players involved. That'll give him an awful lot of confidence, and as you rightly mentioned, making the most of Pascal Papé's absence over the next 6-7 minutes.
It did. It came from a wonderful offload from Swanepoel, the fly half, just coming onto the ball at pace, drawing in two defenders and then having the presence of mind to offload at the same time. Outstanding offload from him. And then from then it was all one-way traffic. Mignardi going through. The momentum was with Brive. A great try, and they'll be ruining the fact that Guétin Germain has not been able to convert the extra 2 points there.
Well, as I say that, the news from Stade Jean Daugère is that they have got their fourth try. So at the moment, the bonus point is theirs. But just in case you needed reminding, in the top 14, you have to end up with +3 tries over your opposition. And if that changes, then you don't get the bonus point. So this will go right to the wire, that's for sure. Brive happy to start this second half in such a positive gear. Cameron not helping his team with that awful hack off the edge of the boot. Pejuan looking to fire his team. Swanepoel. We mentioned Jamie Noon earlier. Well, Swanepoel and Noon used to be the centre partnership. Now Swanepoel called on to be the playmaker in the 10 shirt as Mornay Stain, his opposite number, slides one through just to relieve the pressure a bit, but it's going to come back. Masalevu will love it if this game breaks up. The Fijian 7-star loves the space and so quick to capitalise on it. There's another Fijian, Wanganian Baroto. Swanepoel sends it out to Nami. Guillaume Nami, as he was a few minutes ago, trying to keep that ball alive, and you can see that Brive have really been fired up in the hutches by the coaching team, haven't they?
I mean, it's a totally different side here. Unbelievable restart here from Brive. Phenomenal from them, and they've come out all guns blazing, desperate to prove the point. First half a little bit frustrated, having 70% of the possession and only coming in with an 8-0 lead, but here they are making that possession count.
Well, Brive's form this season has not been good, both in terms of attack and defence. The second most impotent attack in terms of points and tries, and indeed the second most porous defence. If you look at the stats, you see they've given away 7 try bonus points through the course of this season. But this half has got to be different from any other half. Mind you, they started the season at home to La Rochelle and took a bonus point win, and they were sitting atop of the table. How times have changed, huh?
One thing that is definite is this: the crowd are vociferous. They are behind this side. It's the exact start that they wanted. They wanted to see some tries. They would have seen what's happening between Bayonne and La Rochelle. Bayonne leading 26-7 at the moment. They know what that means in terms of the permutations and calculations. They now know they need another bonus point try to make sure they can keep their top 14 status next year. And what a start that is to get that try on the board.
Well, the absence of Pape in that Stade Francais engine room not noticeably showing at the moment. Credit to the other 7. Of course, there's some impact to come off the bench, lest you need reminding. Sergio Parise back in the Stade Francais squad this afternoon. Gerhard Mustert, the South African international second row, also in there. Remy Bonfils. Rava Slimani, of course, the French prop there is Pascal Pape. Good work from the Stade scrum.
I mean, what an outstanding response from Stade there. All the pressure on them. Yeah, but they're just adding in the number 12 for them, Bosman, just to get some weight behind the 7 that's down a player in there. That's a great response from Stade. Winning the penalty just relieves some pressure now and gets some territory back.
There's Pape back into the action, the pantomime villain of the top 14. He really gets the same sort of reaction wherever he goes. I'm sure he's immune to it. Supposed to be heading back to Lyon for next season. Of course, a former Bourgoin boy, along with Bonaire, who's going back. There's Rava Slimani off the bench now as the visitors make changes up front. Yeah, lots of players from Bourgoin and the likes, and you look at a few of the players, Nallet and Cheval, of course, were all started their professional careers with Bourgoin, just down the road from Lyon. And it looks like Pape will be going back along with Bonaire to finish in the locale. Nallet, of course, finishing with that game today against Grenoble. And last I heard, Lyon were leading just 20 points to 18 in that one. Pape immediately getting his hands back on the ball as Lavala sets it back. Every time I look at Julien Thomas, it looks like he's lost his boots. It's only because he's got such brightly coloured boots. There he is. With those orange boots, it almost looks like he's in barefoot, but he's certainly... Oh, what a sidestep from Rava Slimani. That's why Philippe Saint-André wants him. Whether he wants him at tight head or at 12, we shall wait and see, but amazing sidestep from a tight head prop. Are they allowed to do that?
Yeah, I mean, that was a hell of a dummy from him there. I can tell you what, at the team room on Monday, they'll be replaying that one over and over again.
This is how you do it, boys. Jono Ross takes Stade Francais forward again, but they're having to kick their way into the Brive half. Germain getting up. Well, not quite sure how that ricochet worked. I think it was an accidental offside in effect. I think it was Guillaume Nami coming back.
I mean, that is the first bit of Stade Francais continuity and face play they've managed to put together in this game. They've just had no real momentum, continuity, consistency in their play. They built some phases. We see the lovely little in and out from Rabah Slimani. Every front row props dream that is to be able to do that to someone.
What a changing world we live in.
Trust me, that will be in his highlights reel. I know that for certain. A lovely guy, smashing lad, and always tries those little dummies. Never comes off in training, and he just managed to do it in front of a partisan Brive crowd on national TV.
And there's a man coming off. Guillaume Nami being replaced by Malachi Radiki-Diki. Two Fijians now out wide for the home side as they look to up the ante a bit in attack. But right now they're in defence as Bourbon sets the ball up for his team. Thomas Mornay-Stain changes the kicking angle. Oh, and that was good work from Pejuan, hoovering up the loose ball, but they're going to go back for an earlier infringement, I think.
Yeah, I mean, clever play from Mornay-Stain, knowing he's got the penalty there, just using the little chip kick to see if he can get something out of nothing, and then comes back to this kick. One thing that's interesting is, for me at the moment, Stade are not out the game. They're 13-0 down. Twice now they spurned the opportunity, turned it down to go for the post when they're within easy kicking distance, just to notch up and build a score. When you keep the scoreboard ticking over, that changes the dynamic of the game. Here you put a lot of pressure on yourselves to score, and if you don't come away with points, you're still at zero. So Stade must start converting this now.
Sempre trying to guide this maul, but it really is losing its direction. Big style as Wangani Mboroto turns into a human duffel bag on his back. Thomas desperately trying to organise his troops. There's his captain, Bourbon. Thomas swings it out. And there's a chance of a turnover here. Well, Stade Francais maybe slightly fortunate to keep possession of that one, I suspect.
Oh yeah, really fortunate. I'm not sure what they're doing here either. I mean, he just goes to ground far too easy, Sampere there. He almost falls to the floor before he's actually even taken contact. And that makes it incredibly easy for Brive just to attack the ball and nearly get the turnover. Very, very fortunate. Poor play from Sampere. And as I said just 2 minutes ago, Stade must convert this possession territory into points. Fantastic work from Brive in defence to disrupt that maul, make sure that they bring it down, but again Stade just going to get frustrated if they can't stop ticking over on the scoreboard.
You can see in that Brive front row another part of their Georgian enclave. Gudetsi Shvelitse into the front row as well. Really is a meeting of the Georgian rent-a-props, isn't it? They are such a sturdy mob. There's actually 4 of them within the Brive squad. Pakrishvili not involved today. And just turning around is another one, Zurabi Zvania, just 23 years of age, but already with 18 caps for his country. I'm sure Milton Haig will be watching this one keenly to see how he performs with, of course, Rugby World Cup looming large now.
Flexion. Lié. Je.
Well, the bane of Northern Hemisphere rugby comes back to strike it. The engagement in the scrum has been littering the season on and off. It hasn't been constant, it has to be said, but as soon as the new ingredients come into the six mix at the front of those scrums, it's kind of inevitable, isn't it?
It's a world that I daren't dabble with, to be honest. I tried to stay well away from that as much as I could. I just used to respond to them with grunts whenever they spoke to me. That was about it.
Because that's how they talk, of course, yes. There's Nicolas Godignon, brought back to Brive by Olivier Magnier back in the day, I think about 6-7 years ago now. Was a flanker and got injured when they were playing in Pro D2, and then came back to coach the Kravos, the under-19s, with some distinction. Was moved into the defensive role, and then when Hugo Mola left, he was promoted from within, and certainly is a favourite son in these parts, working with Didier Cassaday and Philippe Carbonneau, his forwards and backs coach.
Something I just build on something there. You know, we mentioned about Stade Francais needing to come away with something. Had ample opportunity to put points on the boards, but rejected them. Tried to go for glory, get the tries, get the big scores, and get within touching distance of that 13 instead of just ticking the scoreboard over nicely. They've got nothing out of it. No change. Great defence from Brive. Done incredibly well to frustrate Stade Francais, and now look where they are. Stade back in their own half, still with 0 on the points on the scoreboard. And then they're trying to play from just outside their 22. Now that is the difference, and that's where they have to understand, playing away from home in front of this partisan Brive crowd, desperate for a win. If they're going to come away with victory, they need to start thinking smart on their feet.
Well, eventually the ball finds Scott Lavala, but it's a messy ball, and the ones with the appetite are the Brive boys. You can see that. It means so much to them. At the moment, as it stands, of course, they're one try away from that bonus point. The news coming through from the Stade Jean d'Auxerre, 33-7 Bayonne lead. So that's another try on the board, this time from Joe Rocathoko, the 5th try for Bayonne, and they're now 4 tries to the good of La Rochelle. So the more and more that game goes on, the more you think Bayonne are going to be safe. Huge emotional week, of course, with the talk of the merger with Biarritz eventually being subsided. But right now, Brive will not care a jot about that, as their opposition just gets a little sterner with the introduction of the Italian captain. And indeed, Jérôme Fiol on for that man, Julien Thomas, as well. There's Fiol in his last season, along with Pierre Rabadin, one of your mates, Ollie, who bade farewell to Stade Francais after how many years?
I think he's been there 15 years, 16 years now, as part of the a well-entrenched founding member of this fantastic Stade Francais dynasty, if you like, that people have grown up loving and understanding in the last sort of 10-15 years. A phenomenal servant to Stade Francais, Pierre Rabadin, and he will be sorely missed. It was a tearful goodbye for him in his last home game last week against Montpellier, but an outstanding character, a great rugby player as well, and a fantastic servant for Stade.
I wonder whether the likes of Antoine Bourbin is going to replace Rabadin in the way that he appears to be the heartbeat of Stade Francais, not just the team, but the way the whole operation works.
Yeah, I think that's where the true value of Pierre Rabadin comes to the fore. He's not just on the field that he was an outstanding servant for Stade Francais, but off it, he's an absolute fan's favourite. He will be sorely missed, and the likes of Antoine Bourbin, Remy Bonfils, who's on there now, or Rabah Slimani, the younger generation coming through, that have come through this sort of younger ranks within Stade Francais. Jules Frisson as well. Can they now step up and keep that heritage tradition?
Janan with the break, and suddenly he's opened the door, and Enrique DKs sprints through it. Now hang on. The celebrations are there from the Brive players. I'm just checking now because I can hear Mathieu Reynal just checking something here. As it came out to the fullback, cutting back on through a weak tackle from Slimani. Well, couldn't see much wrong with that, Ollie Phillips, can you?
It's just there at the end.
Or did he juggle?
It's just here at the end where he goes through, gets so excited about scoring. Does he catch the ball? Has he actually got control and downward pressure as he goes down? It's a phenomenal breakthrough from Guetta, and then a wonderful offload inside. Lovely support line running from Radiki Digi. But as he got too enthusiastic there and dropped the ball.
What's your call?
I think that's a try. I think he's got, despite the fact that he maybe loses control of it there, I think he's got downward pressure on the ball as it hits the ground. But very fortunate from him. Now that will go on. If it's not a try, it's definitely on the bloopers.
Here we go. This is going to be huge for Brive.
Donc, essai. Okay, merci.
It's there. Well, relief all round in every which way as the Fijian 7-star gets that third try for the home side. Set up by Gaëtan Germain. Good work, good strong leg drive from the fullback. And that's why he was brought off the bench. Goodness me, if he'd have dropped that, he wouldn't have wanted to go home tonight.
No, I think he would. I mean, now he would have gone from, say, saviour to sinner. But what a response from Brive here. They know the importance. Bayonne 33-7 up against La Rochelle. With the bonus point, that would have propelled them above Brive and condemned them to top 14 relegation. But at the moment, as it stands, I believe with that try, that has put Brive back above them and has potentially secured their top 14 status if they can keep this Stade Francais offensive effort out.
What a match, what a finish. It's just such an incredible ending, and it always has been. I have to say, you look back through the seasons, and 2 years ago there were 465 points scored in the last round, and indeed 33 tries scored in last season's finale, which of course saw Oyonnax saved at the last minute and Perpignan relegated. So never say never. This game still with 22 minutes left on it. Anything could happen, and you only have to remember that if Stade Francais scored one try now, that bonus point would disappear for Brive.
Something the other thing that's worth thinking about as well is the implications that this Bayonne bonus point win and potential Brive bonus point win do for the Grenoble and Castres, who are both sitting above them 4 points ahead. Now the mathematicians are going to be going crazy back there, because right now Brive have blown this all apart, as Grenoble losing to Lyon, I understand, away.
But they have the losing bonus point at 20 points to 18 as it stands. That would be enough for Grenoble, because that would then move them to 53 points, which would be safety, I think.
You're the mathematician next to me, so I'm putting it on
my
you
abacus
too.
Doesn't work that quickly. We shall keep you up to speed with how we think it's going to pan out. But this game, well, goodness me, you just cannot be sure of how the script writers are going to end this season for Brive, and indeed Bayonne, and indeed the top 14. They don't write them anywhere else like they do in the French top 14, do they?
I mean, that's true. And one thing you know for certain is the last 10, 15 minutes of this game are going to be some real nail-biting moments for this Brive crowd, desperate to ensure that their beloved home team, their beloved rugby side, stays in the top 14. The tiny little David can stay and can be competitive in the top 14 against the Goliaths of Toulouse, Toulon, Clermont.
Well, of course, they got relegated, what was it, 3 years ago now? Came straight back up at the first time of asking, but they do not want to be tasting Pro de Deux again. I mentioned how important it was to the town, to the mayor. Everything has been black and white, balloons, banners. You could not avoid knowing what was going on this afternoon at 4:15. And right now there is 20 minutes of huge rugby action that is going to decide the mood, not only of all those players, not only of the 16,000 in the stands, but the whole population of Brive is going to be decided by the outcome and any points that are scored. Look, there's the score up on the big screen. They can't avoid it. They'll be well aware of what's going on. And you see Grenoble now in front against Lyon.
But Cass losing, so I wonder what the mathematical calculations do for that one.
Please don't.
I'll tell you what's intriguing here though, Simon, now. Brive can obviously see those scores on the board. They're 20-0 up in this game and effectively secured the bonus point. So when they started, they'd have had lots of objectives. They've now achieved all those objectives. How do you now play and keep that continuity? Do they just keep doing what they're doing, or are they going to start changing their game plan, kicking the corners, putting pressure on Stade? You know, such an intriguing last 20 minutes we've got coming up here.
And Sergio Parise just finding himself on the wrong side, but legally so, says Monsieur Reynal. Now Arnaud Mera has to keep his cool and keep his head as the captain of Brive. And the former Albi second row, already been 6 years in Brive's colours, just signed a 2-year extension a couple of months back. But he has to keep his team focused and on track.
I think we just saw there the added value that Sergio Parise brings to this side. Great work from him there in the contact area, managing that contact, keeping a Brive player on his feet and winning the turnover for his side, which has now resulted in a penalty.
Well, the little offload doesn't work to Jérôme Fiol. And now the crowd are really going to come into play now, because they're going to be so vocal, so loud. And Stade Francais know that they haven't been able to hit their straps through the course of this hour. And even though they've been bringing on some big hitters off the bench, does it make the engine work any better? Where's the oil?
I think that's the problem, and there's just no continuity in their play. They're rushing things, panicking things for me. There's 20 minutes on the clock there. They win a penalty at scrum time. Fiol goes fast, goes quickly. Why tap quickly there in this situation? You've got a dominant forward pack that just need to get some stability in the game, get a stranglehold, some sort of foothold in the game, kick it down into the corner, put the pressure on this Brive side. The result is waste the penalty, gift the ball back over. Silly, sloppy play from Stade Francais, and that's been indicative throughout this whole game so far.
Just to give you a slight update on the relegation situation. If Castres don't get any points, and they would end up then on 52, and Bayonne, it looks like, are going to end up on 52. Castres will be going down, we think, but we should look for affirmation of that right now. The focus is on Brive and whether they can maintain this 3-0 lead, 3-0 advantage over the Parisians. The game beginning to get quite scrappy and fractious and just breaking up a bit, and I'm not sure who that serves best.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why it's going like that, to be honest. Stade Francais appear though they've come here to just throw the ball around and have some fun, but you know, this is a side that are going into the barrage next week. You know, key, crucial knockout competition of which they have the potential to win the league. Now, you want to be practicing in this situation your basics, making sure that you're executing your set piece play, your phase plays on the money, your accuracy with the boot, your decision making. All of that's there in place so that when you go into next week, you're on the money. At the moment, they are all over the place. They're making poor decisions left, right, and centre. They're not executing and finishing things off, whether that be at line-out time or at scrum time. They're giving penalties away all the time, and they're spilling possession. It's a really poor display from a side that, you know, are in the top 3 of this league.
Biel gets the call from Stein, but the interception is there from Swanepoel. Swanepoel streaking away to ensure Brive's existence in the top 14 next season. Who knows? 15 minutes time, that could be the killer try for Brive.
I mean, what a bit of opportunism there from Swanepoel. And has he just booked Brive into the top 14 next season? It is an outstanding bit of a read from him there. Sees the pass coming back in from Fiol and just dominates it there. Just reads it off of Fiol, off of Stain, and picks the forward pass up as well, which was even more better, which was even more classic.
It helped him even more because it put it right into his pocket. A left-handed pass from Mornay Stain was never going to find his target. And Ryan Swanepoel, South African to South African it may be, but no friends in that contest. What a score, 25-0. And now, for the first time, Brive have a little buffer.
They do, they've got that extra try they needed, but they've been so strong in their defensive effort all day so far. To be honest, Stade have never looked like troubling them with their attacks, and they deserve to be well in the lead. And you can see what it means to this crowd. You can hear them in the background, just so vociferous and supportive of their side, because they know the significance of what's happening at the moment.
Koimayambole has done his bit as Germain adds another 2. He believes that's it. And he believes that the crowd, yes, it's destiny, says Cesar Koimayambole.
He's lapping it up, isn't he, as well? He's lapping up this audience. The crowd, the job is not done yet, gents. Another 15 minutes to go. You do not switch off your game now and gift 2 simple tries that cost you that bonus point. Must stay on the money and focus on the job in hand.
Well, what a second half it's been. Suspected that Brive would have to come out with the different mindset we talked about, moving it away from the set piece, and indeed that's what they've been able to do, albeit their visitors have been very generous in the way they've given them ball at various stages.
Oh, look at the energy, look how hungry Brive are to get that turnover. Fantastic play from them on the floor, and now just desperate to get the territory, push Stade Francais back further.
Damien Neveu, the replacement scrum half for the home side, with that box kick that worked so well to put Parise under pressure. Well, there's only one team with an appetite right now, and it is this Brive pack. Neveu swings it out. They're all wanting the ball now. Radike Dike appearing in midfield, but being stripped of the ball, and Parise trying to fire his team up.
I mean, this is getting very loose, this game now, but some great turnovers at the breakdown from both Brive and from Stade. Phenomenal work. You know, the coaches talk all the time about blasting past that first man. They say occupy the space beyond the ball. You've seen it on 3 occasions in the last minute and a half, where both sides have done that perfectly, winning the turnovers for their teams. And now that is crucial, but the momentum, everything at the moment is with Brive. You can just feel it engulfing this game and suffocating Stade Francais at the moment.
So while the officials are just talking, bring you up to speed on the other scores. Grenoble now leading 24-23. That should take them out of the relegation fight. Clermont 23-17 up. Racing Metro beating Castres 29-10. Toulon 39-3. They're stripping Oyonnax of any dignity at the Stade Félix Mayol. And Toulouse now 16-15 up against Bordeaux-Bègles. Add in to, of course, Bayonne leading 33-7 at La Rochelle. So the way I think it pans out at the moment is that it will still be Bayonne who will be relegated. Castres have a better record over Bayonne in the head-to-heads. This bonus point win, of course, would take Brive out of the context. So at the moment, I think it is still Bayonne, despite having scored 5 tries at the Stade Jean Daugère, who will be relegated if the scores stay the same through the next 10-12 minutes or so. I hope that's clear as mud. And we will try and keep you up to date from the other grounds as much as we can, as this game really just gets so fractious and so scrappy. It's not just about the bench coming on, is it?
Oh, no, it's not. You know, the bench have got to add something when they come off and onto the field, and at the moment it's just descending to a little bit of chaos, and Brive are managing that situation the best, to be honest. They are really clinical at the breakdown area, really focused, aggressive, winning those contact zones and turning the ball over. And they're frustrating Stade Francais. They can't get any consistency in their game, can't really get any possession. and that's why they've got a 27-0 lead over them.
So more changes off the Stade Francais bench. Gerhard Mostert coming on for Hugh Parle. There's the big South African. And well, that's a big change for Brive. That's Romain Sola, who I presume is coming on from Swanepoel. Sola, a fly half by trade. And that is big pressure. Yes, indeed. There goes Swanepoel. And you can see Hugh Briat on into the back line as well. Briat, one of 3 former Stade Francais players in this Brive squad.
Flexion. Lier. Jeu.
So Swanepoel taking the embrace of his fellow Brive teammates and managers. Now, is that a yellow card? Because if it is for Damien Jourdain, that is a huge call. It's his 7th yellow card of the season, so he's not unused to sitting in the sin bin. But there we go, he's not been on that long, and now Brive are under the cosh. We said there were some more tricks in the tail, and we're about to see it.
There are. I'm not sure what he's given it for there, just maybe collapsing the scrum one too many times. I didn't think that Brive had been repeat offenders on that front, but the referee has just potentially shifted this game that could be absolutely crucial for Brive there. They're down to 14 pretty much now for the remainder of this game, with Stade Francais now able to put some phases together. Could they upset the apple cart here?
Well, they've been forced back into defensive mode. They'll be helped by the fact that Remy Bonfils cannot seem to catch a cold right now. And now
that does help.
Well, they're going to need it, aren't they? Down to 14 for the next 10. It's really going to stoke up the final chapter of this game. There's Romain Sola, the 27-year-old former Bourgoin fly half. And it looks like Georgie Genti is going to have to come back on. Who's he going to come on for? Looking to hear the call. Is it Arnaud Mela? Yes, indeed. The club captain is going to go off.
2 big calls for me. That bringing your club captain off at a time where you're down to 14, 27-0 lead, but needing to make sure you preserve your three-try bonus point lead. That's a big time to take an instrumental player off the field that makes that arguably if he's your captain, makes the right decisions under pressure.
So pressure coming on Brive in every which way right now.
A big moment here now, Simon. Stade Francais will just kick it to the corner, try and get within 5-10 yards of this Brive try line, and then do exactly the same again. Hit their line out, catch it, drive it, stay tight, and use that one man to get them over the line.
More changes. That's Putassi Luafutu, the Australian under 20 back rower. A little confusing because they're taking Hugh Briat off, who has not long been on the park. In fact, looks like Aresh is coming off. Confusion reigns there. Briat eventually goes off, but I'm not sure. It doesn't look like he's injured, so
he's only just come on, so he'd be
strange call.
He'd be pretty aggrieved at that decision.
Well, Nicolas Gourdignon is going to live and die by these calls now. As Brive go into defensive mode, Mostert takes the ball. as Parise comes down the blind side, but there's a reception committee waiting for him. They take the ball, they take the penalty, and they draw a huge sigh of relief.
Bravo to Brive, they're reading the situation. Fantastic defence, and then leaping onto that loose ball to win the turnover and win the penalty. Great stuff from them. Again, I'm not really sure what Stade Francais are doing in this situation, just trying to play too extravagantly. But, you know, Brive making them pay for those errors, making them pay for those mistakes. It's a simple wraparound, but there, Parise isolated on his own. Look how fast they're in there onto the ball. Absolutely phenomenal how quickly they are over onto the ball to win the penalty. Outstanding play.
This Brive team, all 23 of them, have been so voracious for the ball through the course of this game, and that has made the difference. They've really knocked Stade off their mantle, off their game, off their pace, and that is why the scoreboard reads 27-0.
I mean, that was outstanding. Number 19 there, Luafutu, just straight in over the ball, and when he's there, sets up camp, clamps down on it. You're never going to shift him. Great penalty that they win there, Brive. But they make a silly mistake here. Execution again, we said, execution of basics under pressure. 8 minutes to go. You need to just retain the ball, go through those phases. What do? You accidentally knock into your own play and gift it back to Stade Francais. Indicative maybe of Brive's season all year round, making simple basic errors at the wrong time.
The one substitution that we haven't seen that I'm fascinated to see whether Quesada makes is Naithalevu, who could break any game open with the way that he runs and his capacity to score tries. Now, it'd be fascinating to see whether Quesada is willing to risk him, bearing in mind they're going to have Le Barrage next week, or whether he's just going to keep him on the bench and keep him fresh for the knockout stages.
And I think at this stage, 7 minutes to go, 27-0 down, and it's very unlikely you're going to win the game. So what are you bringing him on for if he's such a key asset to your team, and you need him for next week? What is the point of risking him? I guess
depends how many friends Gonzalo Quesada's got to buy on, I would think.
That's true.
Well, Quesada happy that his team, unhappy that his team are being forced to play from their own 22, and this territorial change now in the mindset of Brive, just trying to turn the screw on their visitors, albeit a man down, of course.
But very clever, you're down a player, so what do? We kick it into the Stade Francais 22. If they want the ball from there, you ask them the question: are you going to score an 80-90 yard try to win to get some points on the board? You've not been able to do it all day. We're back our defence like we've just done here. Now we've got Luafutu who's on fire every time he's on the ball. He's winning penalties. Outstanding from him there. Great play from Brive, and that is an example of where you play the tactical possession, the tactical battle. Well done, Brive. Phenomenal effort that is. And we just see there Luafutu straight over the ball again, as he demonstrated 2 minutes earlier. So strong when he's there, and Brive now hungry for that fifth try, hungry to make sure that they cement this bonus point win and ultimately cement their place in the top 14 again next year.
Well, especially as the latest news from Lyon is that Lyon now lead 29-24. So Grenoble just hanging on to that losing bonus point, but only just. That could well play into the relegation stakes. We know that the top 14 always goes to the wire. Historically, we've seen that. Brive look like they're going to hold on to their reputation and their top 14 status as they continue to mangle their way towards the Stade line. I think it was just canny play from the Stade Francais scrum. I think most of them, Barcelona, were pulling out, so that officially there was no maul formed.
Yeah, it's clever play there from Rabastamini, just recognising, understanding the rules and coming round and trying to make the tackle. No contact was made, so no maul.
Hiresh, the man to be replaced. Well, there comes Hugh Briat. Not quite sure how that substitution is working, but I don't think the mass crowds in the stands care one jot. Almost job done. Nicolas Godignon saying big thanks to his open side. How is the table going to look though by the time we get to the end of it? I cannot tell you right now. It looks like it's going to be at the moment between Bayonne and Castres. Let's just fill you with the scores as people in the stands just get a little carried away with the elation of the day. Grenoble, as I say, 29-24 down, but that means they've got the losing bonus point. That should keep them safe. Bayonne now leading 45-12. Tries are plenty, but at the moment they would still be relegated because Castres, although they're taking nothing from Colombes against Racing Metro, 39-10 they're down. The head-to-heads between Castres and Bayonne give advantage to Castres, so Bayonne would be relegated once again. Drama aplenty from the top 14.
Never ceases to deliver, does it? Especially on final game day, and what an outstanding Saturday it's been. Topsy-turvy. Who's going to go through? No one knowing who's going to perform and step up, and who's going to buckle under the pressure. And Brive in front of us here have put on a mesmeric display of. We question their ability to score tries. They've not been able to do it all year. They've had the second most impotent attack in the league, and yet they've come here and scored 5 tries in front of their home partisan crowd. What a performance from them.
Into the final 2 minutes then. Brive look to have done enough. They've got 4 tries on the board, but they've got to just make sure the job is complete, and channeling Stade Francais players over the line. Right, it's all just building up now.
I mean, that's all just frustration from Stade Francais, not being able to do anything all day, not being able to put any sort of phases or continuity into their game, bubbling over, and frustration there. And Brive will be loving this, lapping it up, relishing in this. Look at the crowd, loving every moment of it. They know that their side are now in the top 14 next year, and they're on their feet applauding these guys for the efforts that they've made.
The Corrézians triumphant as the flags flutter in the breeze. Their flags of victory. Damien Neveu just calling the shots, the replacement scrum half, as Thomas Acquier prepares for a line-out which now sees Brive back to their full complement.
They'll just keep this tight now, run the clock down though, there's only a minute left. Just keep building the phases, won't do anything silly, and then as soon as that hooter goes, it'll be put in the Rose Ed, and the whole place will erupt.
Les Brivistes are going to have some party, but they're going to have to wait to start it as Parise tries to get something going, but surely it's too little too late. Throwing passes like that certainly is not going to help Stade's cause.
That was pretty awful, wasn't it, from someone who everyone considers one of the most, one of the best players and attackers in world rugby, but that was pretty disastrous from Parise there.
Well, the clock ticking down to full time, almost there. It's going to be a line out to finish things off. Well, they know they've done it. Godignon, a satisfied man, a relieved man. Now he has to build for next season and make sure there's no repeat of this. It's a long time since Brive were 4 times runners-up for the Breclia de Brennus but now they surely have to get themselves into a stronger position for next season, so they don't have to go through the heartbreak and emotional roller coaster that has seen them in this position once again this season, or to end this season. The clock goes to red. The stands are going to go to black and white as the final remnants of this game leading up to this full-time whistle. The ball goes out, the referee's whistle goes, and Brive have done what they needed to do. They've got 4 tries, they've got the bonus point, they have got safety and security. They will be in the top 14 next season. Ollie Phillips, they've avoided the relegation, but what a shock it has been for Stade Francais and the way that they have performed today.
Yeah, I mean, an outstanding performance from Brive, fully deserved the win and securing their top 14 place next year, residency next year. In contrast, Stade Francais go into the Les Barrages next week with a lot of question marks hanging over their game. Couldn't really establish any sort of power in this match against Brive, and they come up against a much stiffer opposition next week, and how will they perform? That, for me, was a very, very poor display from them and an outstanding one from Brive. And what question marks does it now leave for Stade Francais?
So Brive is safe. We think Bayonne are down. 45-12 they've won, but it's not been enough. Other scores still to finish. But at the moment, Brive don't care, because the black and white shirts will be in the top 14 once again next season. The final score, Brive 27, Stade Francais 0.